Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. You guys are doing well, because you're having a fantastic day. Hope you guys are doing way okay. Now, there's not a good intro. Hey, this is the one we have, this is the one we're gonna do. I promised you guys yesterday we're gonna do Conor McGregor, the documentary on Netflix. So we're gonna start with episode. Why not start with one? I have gas. I don't know what I ate. Apologies. So Conor begins, and I wrote motherfucker because I was excited. When I said it, I swear. Blame my mom, blame my dad, but don't blame me. I've got the documentary start in July 2021, which is by I want to say like 2 years ago. I want to say that the documentary was released. I don't think it was 2 years ago. I think it was more recent than that. Ew. It's hospital, red in hospital bed. Horrible injury. We know that it is an injury versus Poirier. Poirier, which is a French Canadian name. He says, I'm from Texas. No, motherfucker, that's a French Canadian name. What's up? Explain the way he acted. Because we remember when he lost to Poirier, Connor had a horrible word to say to him, and he didn't act like a proper gentleman. So the first thing that in the documentary we're seeing is him understanding why he did that, why he's acting like that, and that he's human, that he's flawed. It's kind of cool to see because, again, that was shameful. That was really, really shameful. You said it was adrenaline. I never had that much adrenaline, so I couldn't answer. I did that it was shameful. But and I said, I wrote, you're not in the octagon, so you don't know, right? He's reliving the moment, he's reliving his defeat. And it's not his first defeat, so, but it sucks because he says, I'm still McGregor, I'm McGregor forever. And that's the mentality that brought him here, but it's the mentality that brought him down. We were talking about last week when we were reviewing Arnold. Arnold was too Arnold for politics, and that brought him down. So we're seeing kind of like something similar going on here, which is kind of sad, isn't it? Hearing after that, we got the intro, the super cool intro, right? We got hearing the media say it's over, right? Right after he said, I'm still McGregor. So it was really nicely put. Like, it's one thing to believe you're still yourself. I'll be Ink Vendetta forever. But if everybody says, who the fuck is Ink Vendetta? Like, you understand? It's kind of cool too. Intro. You see him sit down for the interview, and the intro, baby, I was excited again. Super cool intro, loved it, right? He presents himself, and again, this documentary is cool because in a second he's presenting himself, and the other seconds he's being presented by the announcer, the annunciator, I guess, the announcer. I don't fucking know, I'm French, and yeah, it's kind of cool because again we're seeing the character, but we're seeing the person also. Only water, but still. Whew. We're seeing young Conor McGregor, obviously debut, right? We're seeing with acne, so like, oh, young boy, young boy. Classic old interviews, see past coming, right? It's kind of cool because we're seeing half of his past, half of his present. We're seeing how he went here, how is he coming to where he is right now, right? Talk about his dreams, some highlights of his previous career, like his very start. And at first, he was fighting in the lightweight division, looking strong as fuck. But still, you were here and now you're here, so still pretty cool to see, right? It's crazy because I don't consider myself a UFC fan. I like UFC, but I don't have enough knowledge to understand completely. Holy shit, I know every single fighter, but I still knew enough to say, okay, this is the fight. It's Aldo fight, and Aldo was a title. He had the title, he had a belt, and it was a fight in one punch show. That's kind of crazy, right? You can see this charisma during the interview. I was like I said in the intro. He's very charismatic. He's very like a seller. He brought a showmanship, right? Um, Connor, like him or not, he's fucking Connor, right? There's not two Connor. There's only him. Realizing his dream, right? He's still talking about how he's realizing his dream, right? We're seeing Joe Rogan, and I was like, holy shit, that's somebody I know. Joe Rogan is very present in the documentary, and a lot of people don't like Joe Rogan, but at the end of the day, Joe is a part of the UFC, like a huge part of it. Ooh, yeah. So yeah, I burp and some puke come up. Why am I sharing this with you guys? what's next? Because again, he's a champion. Talking about Floyd, right? You're talking about Cash, how it's how it, when you talk about fighting sports, you talk about McGregor and you talk about Floyd Mayweather, right? What it means, it feels like an achievement because again, like Floyd wouldn't fight in number two or number three. So the fact that he fought Connor was like, yo, this is two champs fighting each other. So again, there's some pride, there's a feeling of accomplishment, and it is really cool to see, right? We're talking legacy, the legacy of the better fighter, right? What's next? How he won everything, because he did win everything, and he was like, yo, like, what is next for me? Because we're talking about a young Connor. When they said that he came from nothing and now he wants everything, what's next for him, right? We got the July 2018, almost a year after Mayweather. So they said 11 months. We play with fun, right? Isn't that usually a proud dad? And again, it's kind of cool. They're trying to humanize Connor, and you understand that. Am I pro humanizing Connor? No, I want a real Connor. I don't want this nice guy persona. I think he can be a nice guy, but I want to see the fighter, right? Seeing him play with his son, however, you're like, oh, he's human, dude. We forget that our hero is sometimes human. And it sucks because, again, they're just like us. We're putting people on the pedestal, but what if they were just like us and you just want it to be normal? None of the fact that they accomplished more than us doesn't mean they're better than us. They just pushed. They just had a dream. They were more hungry. They were hungrier for success than us, and that's why they are who they are and what they are, right? Cute moment, even after all, life changed about being a dad, right? The fact that he's shitting his kid, right? How he see himself and the kid, it's so cool. It's so fucking nice. There's something about being a dad, and it's just awesome. We see the whole family, like his wife, the kid, the pup, right? We hear the striking coach talking accomplishment, right? He knew Connor since he was a kid, and it's kind of cool because he met him when he was zero, and now he's a hero. And he saw him grow up, and that must be in some, and that must have meant something. The fact that he's still hanging around, you can be a celebrity. It's not about who is in your life right now. It's who stayed in your life right now, right? Who has been there since the fucking beginning, right? um how it changed him the value or right, he says how it's like every sport, there's a lot of freaking people that are gonna try to be in the sport, but how many makes it out is very few, right? We changed him the value, how he grew up poor, right? The average mentality of getting a trade, getting a job, how he came from a very rough path, right? He became a plumber, but right away decided it was not for him, and the fact that he became a plumber just so shut them up is something I can relate to. There's a lot of job I didn't want to do, but people were saying, "Oh, you have to work, you have to work," and admittedly, they were right. But I understand this. If you tell me tomorrow, well, you're gonna be making videos your entire life, right? You don't have to work. You're not gonna make a lot, but you can realize your dream. I'll do it. I'll do it, even if it's mean taking a huge cut race, even if it means making sacrifices, even if it means eating ramen noodle, cheap food for the rest of my life. I don't care. It's my dream. Here, it's worth more than here. And I'm pointing at my belly and at my pee-pee. Guys, hell yeah. Or the for him, because he wanted them to understand it's his life, right? He wanted to understand his family because it was his family, his friend. That's it. It's fine if I want to do whatever I want. He focused on training on MMA, right? And again, it's so cool because when he was talking, it wasn't much, right? There was not a concept, a clear concept of MMA, what it was at the very beginning. So we're talking about a concept of timing, the concept of being there at the right time and the right place, which is something I really believe in, believing in one of the first no role model. So because again, the MMA was so new, and it was so fucking new that you didn't have somebody to look up at. It's like, okay, I'm the first, and it comes with the pressure of being the first, being like, oh, I'm the blueprint for this, right? We got a family reveal, right? He revealed it's a little daughter, and there's a moment where he wanted a little boy. It's normal. The father wants to have a son, but then he realized that it's a daughter, and it's the way he's reacting. It makes me feel like he doesn't have a daughter yet, so it's only a son and a daughter, which is cool. It's the dream of every person to have a older boy, right, to take care of the family, and have a younger daughter to be protected but still be a princess, they're taking care of her. It's the dream of every single person I know. It's my dream, and yeah, good for him. possibly a first becoming a father versus being a fighter, because a fighter is to escape your reality, to escape your financial, to escape this reality of hatred, not hatred but anger, right? And now being a father, it's not about fighting, it's about taking care of your family. You made the money, you made the legacy, he doesn't need to fight, right? He could just be a father for the rest of his life and be happy. Because if he needs to prove himself, right? Um, he's talking about how he was called out and his reaction and saying, "I have to show that I'm still Conor McGregor." And to him, that's pride. That's his biggest downfall, right? They're talking about Khabib. Khabib, when he came in the sport, Khabib was a. I'm sorry, bro. I love Khabib. But when he came in, he was a no-name. Nobody knew who Habib was, and the reason why is because you had superstar like McGregor. Man, when Habib started, right, he was 16-0, 20-0. When they finally fought, he was 26-0. Never knew defeat, so he was a contender. He was coming for the belt, right? No loss. He was the biggest contender, right? Habib and Conor, they started out with respect, right? You can see the couple picture of them training together. Habib knew it was man. And it's funny because I knew the beef, I knew there was a bad blood. I didn't know why, right? So what happened was one of the boys of Connor called Habib a pussy. And Habib was like, yo, hey, it's it's a complicated situation. Who's right? So the guy who called Habib a pussy shouldn't have called him a pussy. But he was defending Connor respect. He was like, yo, Connor, he's a true champion. Habib isn't. And then Habib said, yo, don't call me a pussy, which is also right. Right? And he slapped him. And then when that happened, McGregor attacked the boss, right? So we know the fateful night. We heard so much about it. It was a court case. Positive income. I wrote positive income because he took a plea deal. He was guilty, so, and by how media were involved, it was clear that it was him. So there's no really running away from that. A plea deal could be the best thing, right? You can still seek Connor training, right? So you're like, okay, well, if he's training, it's because he want to fight, and if the fighting is possibly Habib, because now there's bad blood, right? There's 25. He's 25-0, so never seen it in the business, like Dana White said, right? Conor is the biggest star, and Habib is the it's possibly the biggest fight, right? And Dana White, like him or not, he knows how to do like events, right? He knows the plan. You can hate the guy. I don't really like Dana White, but hey, right? They announced it at 25th anniversary, right? They announced the biggest fight, and holy shit, nobody knew it was gonna happen. Again, we get to see Joe Rogan, right? And again, he's super involved in UFC. So someone we see him, we see some praise for Habib, how Conor is prepared. He hasn't fought in 2 years, right? Conor felt the pressure, of course, because Habib was this. It was this he was his champion, and also the fact that Connor could talk shit to a lot of people and nobody would answer Connor. Like you can see with Aldo, he would tease Aldo, he would bully Aldo, and Aldo wouldn't answer. But Habib's like, nah, you're not gonna fuck with me, dude. It's a different mindset. It's a negative mindset, right? We got a huge training camp, and I wrote down he broke a toe. Finally, what happened? It was dislocated a toe, but it happened like a month before. So still, it's really, really bad. Dislocated on the spot, right? Which is great because again, I'm no physician, but I feel like the sooner it's better, right? All good. Slight step back, right? Because again, your training has to change a bit. Connor is still positive. So my issue with the documentary, we're talking about the Khabib fight, a Habib Connor fight. We're seeing the side of Connor, which is great, but we never see the side of Habib, which sucks, right? He's limping, right? We got the face-to-face. Connor's been away, right? And the face-to-face. So people saying Connor's been away, maybe he's not ready anymore. And again, that's pushing Connor to prove himself. Got Habib, who's breaking record, right? Connor, he's back. He said he's back for the love of the sport, right? And then he insults Habib. Habib stay calm, right? And that is really like the first time that somebody can stay calm versus Connor. So Connor doesn't know how to gauge that, and it's kind of cool to see. Habib calm, kind of provoke, face to face, messed up, right? People starting to doubt. It was really bad. The way they talk, it was messed up. The insult, they were too far. People, they started to doubt Connor because they said, "Oh, Connor talks loud because what am I call it? because he's insecure. And then we see more training, right? We heard more about the toe, how it's getting better, how he's healing. We're seeing training with Dylan Dennis, who I didn't know who he was until the fight with Logan Paul, right? Who happened not that long ago. So the fact that we're seeing this is kind of cool. People doubting him, and thanks Connor, because again Connor was a legacy, and Habib, you feel like he stole that from him, right? He needs to prove himself. He gets creative. He gets praise from the coaches, and you can see that he's slowly healing, right? Which is cool. We got Connor and Habib. Again, they're bad blood. They're talking about the bad blood, which is true. You said that it took out the hunger. How becoming a champ, it took out the hunger. It took out the the I'm so hungry I won't sleep. Need to train, right? Kind of talk about getting comfortable. That's what taking out the hunger means, basically, right? Now it's back. It's back to being hungry. He's back to wanting it, and it's 1 week before. Again with the injury, right? Everything like plan. They're talking about how his training was really it was really successful. How everything it was what they wanted. He realized be the champ again. He wants to be the champ because he knows that his position is at risk. Habib, biggest thing was he could be no matter how many match he won, he was always gonna have one defeat. And Conor was the first title defending his title, so both had a lot to lose. Ask if he is playing a role. People are talking about how he's playing a role because again, Habib and the media was the good guy. Connor was the asshole who kept provoking him, right? And he says, "No, I'm not playing a role. I'm just being myself," which I want to believe because again, he has a rough life, so he might come across rough around the edge. Doesn't make him a bad person. Insulting somebody is not cool, but still, right? Champ asks if he's playing a role. It's also how the showmanship it works against him. Like, oh, are you making a show? Or are you really being yourself, right? But he says, "I'm Connor." He's maintaining that title. It's more talking, right? He wants to maintain the title. There's more talking about the fight, the expectation, right? The press conference. Connor was a no-show, right? And it makes Khabib mad. The problem with Connor here, right, is that he keeps on pushing for Khabib to be mad. He keeps on pushing for Khabib to feel a certain kind of way. He's so focused on playing this mind game with Khabib that he's not really training, and that's his biggest downfall. Habib, he's mad because the guy didn't show up. It's like he's missing respect, right? It's personal, right? He said, "Now I'm gonna fuck him up real bad because he disrespected you," and that's why I like Habib because Habib was like, "Yo, he disrespected you, and you guys are worshiping him. Like he don't deserve your love. He doesn't deserve your respect," which is a good mentality to have. Champion or not, you don't respect and love is not a guarantee. Connor show later, right? It was all a plan to provoke, right? And since it's only Connor, he has the freedom to say anything he wants, right? It's kind of cool. Have you stayed for 50 minutes? So again, we're seeing them sweat before the matches. So a sauna, a garbage bag, classic sweating not season, sorry, preparation. So they meet the weight on a scale, right? Connor is selling war. There's no peace possible. Again, they talk about the talking a lot about the fucking the bad blood, and that's his selling. But it's kind of cool because Connor is selling the fight, and you can see that's why Dana loves Connor so much because he does a lot of the work for promoting the fights, right? Selling war, no peace possible. Because the night of the fight, right, you see a very calm, he's enjoying a nice meal, right? It's a touching moment where he says goodbye to the family, right? He's still working out on the injury, right? Talking about mental prep. To me, in that moment, he looks really skinny. So I don't know, but now I'm seeing him now he's beefed up, right? But in that moment he looks skinny, like holy shit, what is gonna happen? Compared to now, right? He's defending his title, his life work. He's called this title the life work, which is how much it means to him, right? And it is. I can imagine putting in that much effort, those years of training, for all to be in a risk in the night, right? If you win, big glory. If you lose, shame. He said, "I tell the talk, now it's time to walk the walk," right? He said he's ready for anything, right? You got two opponents. They want to touch the ring. He said the coach said you want to touch the ring. Nobody touches the ring, which is a sign of disrespect, right? Um, During the fight, there was some good advice from coach, right? I could describe the match. However, I'm not the most versed into UFC. I'm not the one who has a better reading. I don't know a lot about UFC. What I know is very little. Is the basic. I can enjoy a match, but from enjoying a match to replaying a match and talking about it, describing it, I'm not the right guy. And instead of doing something I'm not comfortable doing, or I don't feel like I'm the best person to do it, I just won't do it. Habib won, right? Habib, he jumped into the crowd for Dylan Dennis, who was provoking him. And we know that Dylan Dennis liked to provoke, right? There's chaos. I wrote down Pandemonium because, again, we remember that fight. We remember that night. We remember Habib jumping in the crowd. And it was crazy. Then we see the loss, right? Dana came to cheer up Connor, which is good. But I got a problem with that. It's cool that he went to. It's really cool that he went to cheer up Connor. But what if he has done the same for Habib? I don't think so. I don't know if he would have done so. So it's kind of cool that you're protecting your fighter, but you're playing favorite, and that's not cool. Only care. But Connor, he doesn't care about the words of he doesn't care about the care of Dana. He cares about defeat. It's like, yo, even the son, he comes to cheer him up, which you can kind of see. It's cool because you see his mom. She let go of the son, knowing that's what she needs. That's what he needs. So I thought it was really cool. That's the hope up and lows of fighting, right? You win, you lose, and when you win again, glory. When you lose, you're fucking defeated. Chene talks about a fight where there's no winner, there's only hate. It changed him, right? You can see Habib, who I only saw him mad against Connor, and you can see Connor even in the training camp. He was negative, he was changed. So that's the fight, that's the hatred, right? There's no winner. It changed them both, right? Talks about being a fighter and legacy, right? And he's like, do I leave a legacy behind? Am I leaving a legacy behind? The trainer is like, yo, Connor has this huge platform. Connor is a celebrity. He's a legacy. What legacy is it gonna leave behind? Is it a good one? Or is it a bad one? Future will tell, right? So that's something I kind of enjoyed, to be quite fair. He has some, and there's a quote that he says, like, you have the fire. What are you gonna do? Cook the steak or burn the house? So cook the steak is feeding, protecting, providing, and burn the house is destruction. We got a community service in the church for 5 days, right? And it's some amazing because the church is really a place where it's gonna help Connor. Um, Church for 5 days, I became a role model, right? It pressured him because he was like, I'm just human. I'm 25. I'm still fucking young, right? Do I deserve to be a role model? He felt like an imposter. It was overwhelming. You can kind of see that it fucked with his mind. Yeah, Connor is known for being a loudmouth, being talkative, saying whatever the fuck he wants, but at the end of the day, he's human, right? And I know it sounds like I'm kissing his ass, and I'm a fan. Truth is, I care about Connor. Truth is, I care about what he brought to the sport. Other people are talking about how talking negatively, but Connor was a part of the UFC. He was a part of the history of UFC, and no matter what, he's always going to be a part of UFC. It's like Joe Rogan. You can hate the guy, but what he provided for UFC is huge. Um, Young and how many are there, right? The media are always gonna be there to say, "Hey, you did something wrong," and the media they're hunting for clicks. I'm hunting for clicks. So if I have a choice between talking about a positive and negative, and I know the negative is gonna bring more clicks, I'm gonna have to talk about negatively. And that's what the media are doing, right? It's always about a click. Um, media are there. The church I want to present more charity work, right? Message of the church. Connor really takes his time to look around the church and how the message they send, something is inspiring. He likes it there. The people are nice to him. They're treating him like a normal person, and he likes the church. And again, yes, he fucked up with the boss, but maybe the church was the right place. Maybe the church was where it needs to be. Maybe it was where it needed to be when it needed to be there. Who knows? He talked about the reverend and how much the reverend is cool, right? And how the reverend is selfless and he's a self-made man and he feels like Connor. And he's like, yo, I can relate to that guy. He's a great role model. So he takes example for the reverend. He's like, yo, I like this guy, right? It's important that, again, this is an experience. It might be just 5 days, but 5 days can change a mentality. It can change a man. I know it's crazy, but it can change a person. Being 5 days lost in a forest is gonna change you. Being 5 days in prison is gonna change you, right? It felt good for him making a mistake. I was it was something that he needed to do. The place it took him, it was where he needed to be. Talking about redemption, right? Back to training. How defeat motivated him. How the defeat motivated him, right? 2 years no win. So again, he's leaving a legacy, but now he has 2 years no win. He said he's lost a lot of matches, but 2 years no win is important here. Other people, they rooted against him, right? The people were more doubtful against him. They were more talking shit against him, right? But still, people, they rooted for him, and he was like, okay, well, guess what? I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be humble. I'm gonna be a better version of myself. And there's talk about champion. So first episode out of 4, super cool. Loved it. Definitely gonna watch the rest. I could talk about it a lot. But then again, I feel like the documentary is self-explanatory, and I'm torn between putting my part where talking about how I feel at the end, or talking about how I'm feeling as I go through it. It's always a essay. But what I do know is I love you guys, and I wish you nothing but the best. Although, fuck you, and have a nice day. Peace.